back to the Jays with Down podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and I'm here today with my boy, Jonathan Hooker. He is the host of the Sports Sim podcast, does a great job over there, and he's going to be with us today talking about the CFP brackets. Everything's been set. Those games start this week, John. So lots to unpack here. I mean, now this we've had some time to digest everything, Notre Dame being left out and all this and that. So I just want to get your thoughts on this whole thing. And who do you think was screwed and wasn't screwed? So let me know what you think on that.
I think I'll tell you I'll tell you like this. It was the domino effect. If Virginia wins this game, we don't get two group of five teams in. And that gives a chance for Miami or Notre Dame to get in because the committee had Notre Dame in front of Miami for a lot of the time being. But once they saw Virginia losing, you guys got to know a Power Four conference was not going to be left out. Now they put in Miami over Notre Dame, which I totally agree because head to head has to matter in some capacity. And so that head-to-head win was very, very crucial. Even though it was early in the season and Notre Dame did look like the better team moving forward after that loss, but you gotta call a spade a spade. Miami, they won that game, and that's what happens. And then really, anyone getting screwed? No, I did believe Alabama was going to drop a spot after losing the SEC championship. I personally wanted Alabama out, but I understood because that extra game, you cannot fault them for making the conference championship. But then after that, I'll say, really? Nobody. Nobody. I don't think nobody was screwed. I think Committee did as good of a job as they could have with the circumstances. And now, one thing I didn't like was the Notre Dame getting a clause. Uh, I think that's downright stupid, but that's another conversation for a different day, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I agree. Like you say, the head to head, that's got to matter, right? And the college football playoff is something that, it's been under scrutiny for quite some time now. And how they run things and what matters to them, what does not matter to them, and it seems like that agenda has been known to flip here and there. Um, so it's just one of those things, man. I don't know. Like I personally, even as an Alabama fan, I don't think Alabama should have gotten in. It's like, oh well, you can't punish them for the. I get that, but you know, they still just got completely whipped in that game. I do think that game against Georgia has to matter.
Yeah.
Um,
That,
you know,
yeah.
so Georgia loses either way, they're in.
100%.
So Alabama, I think they should have been left out, but that's just how it is, man. So
Yeah. Because you gotta think they arguably have the best win in college football though, coming to Athens and winning that game.
yeah,
I say like that really helped them and resume wise, but the committee did watch, they did articulate how Alabama was playing for the last couple of weeks. They were descending while other teams were ascending. And I'll say if they were left out, promise you I wouldn't have gotten mad. I promise you I wouldn't have gotten mad. I would have been cool with it. But I understood, but it is what it is. But they have a really, really tough matchup moving forward against Oklahoma though.
yeah, they do. Speaking of which, man, that's going to be this Friday, December 19th, and Alabama has to go to Oklahoma uh, for this matchup once again. And this is the team that's been a bit of a thorn in their side. So what does Alabama have to do to go out there to Norman and get this win? It's gonna be super hard.
Uh, Three keys. Got to be able to run the ball. First off, you got to have some type of balance to alleviate pressure off of Todd Simpson because we seen the past couple games. If we rely too much on Todd Simpson, he won't be able to win you the ball game for some sake. But I'll say you got to be able to run the ball. Whether that's Daniel Hill, AK Deer, whether you get Jam Miller back, you got to be able to run the ball. Two, I think your defense is not the issue. It's strictly all offense. The play calling. I think the play calling has to be better in order to win. I think you can't just rely on just pass, pass, pass. I think mixing up with the run, but also like putting up better schemes, better route concepts to get guys open because arguably Ryan Williams is arguably your most dynamic player on offense. And when we see him have limited amount of touches, it doesn't work in your favor as an Alabama fan. Third, I think it's just being able to come in, have that mentality that Alabama that's been having for years, even with Nick Saban, having that championship mentality, going in, handling business. Don't worry about the crowd, don't worry about anything else. Just go in and play your game. I think they'll be all right. But it's gonna be tough though, 100%.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I think with Oklahoma, they're one of those teams where offensively it's like they're just it's and John Mateer, he's one of those guys at quarterback where it's just kind of like night or day with
Yeah,
him. Hopefully like for Alabama, he'll be on his night side instead of on the day side. But their defense is phenomenal. Their defense is one of the best defenses I've ever seen. Brent Venables, like we know, he's known to have some really great defenses from his days at Clemson, being D coordinator there. So that's one of the things obviously the only concerns me. But offensively, mm, they're there. So that's just one of those things with Oklahoma, for me.
yeah, for sure. I think Oklahoma reminds me of 2024 South Carolina. Their defense is phenomenal. They have guys all over defense. It's just the offense is complementary, and it has its days where it can score you 30, but it does have its days where it can only give you 17. And I think that however Oklahoma's offense come out and how Alabama defense take care of the business on that side of the ball, I think that'll play a huge part in this game. I think like we all said, the game is won in the trenches. And if Alabama's O line can block and can give Tyson some time and create gaps for Alabama running backs to run through, I think you guys have a pretty good chance.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Be interesting. Like I said, I people think I'm crazy for this. I mean, I did not want this. I really did not want to see this Alabama team in the CFP. I just did not, but here we are. So I'm hoping that will give them some motivation here to go out and play better than what they have. But moving on, you know, the rest of our matchups, we got Oregon and JMU. I think general consensus is that Oregon's going to take care of that pretty well.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then Texas A&M and Miami. Who you got winning that game?
I'm so 50-50 on this because today I'll probably say Texas A&M. Tomorrow I'll say Miami. So today we're going with Texas A&M for sure.
Okay.
I think Texas A&M. it, Carson makes a lot well, as like we all know, Carson makes liable turnovers. I think that the front seven that Texas A&M poses is one of the better front sevens in the nation. And I think that they can create turnovers and they can shut down Carson Beck. And I think that having the fans of Kyle Field behind you, I think it's going to be one of the more hectic environments that Carson Beck has been in. I think they'll do a good job of that. But then you also got to think Malachi Tony. I don't think Texas A&M has a person to guard Malachi Tony. And I think that Malachi Tony is one of the more dynamic players in the nation. Reclassified from his junior year to play, skipping his senior year to play in college football. He's already on pace to have 1,000 yards. He's already on pace to break Xavier Restrepo's receptions record. So that's gonna be really, really good to see. Um, Having a dynamic player in the playoff, and also I can't trust Miami defense. I can't trust it. Ruben Bain's a great talent. Their defensive line has been pretty solid. I think that it's just something about like the ACC versus SEC that I just can't choose the ACC. I think
Yeah.
that like the SEC it just means more. Like the slogan says, it just means more. I think that it'll be more into testing them to get that win because I think it'll show the fans that testing them to that late loss against Texas, they'll get back to do certain things and we'll see a potential Heisman front runner for next season for Marcel Reed put on for him and his team.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I made a video a while back. I said that Texas A&M, I believe, was the best team in the country. And I said this a couple weeks ago, this was before their loss to Texas. I still believe that they are one of the better teams in the country. Like I know you have your Indiana, your Ohio State, which I'm still like not all that sold on. Um, like I honestly think if Texas A&M were to win and go up against OSU, they have an awesome chance of beating them. I believe so. Compared to like what we saw in that Big Ten championship game against Indiana, like I think Texas A&M has a good. I think Texas A&M would definitely have a good chance of beating Ohio State. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a good take. That's a good take. I can't get mad at that. Like when people say stuff like that, it's like you have to sit there and ponder. Like you don't let your emotions get into it, but they do have a chance. I mean they do have a chance. They do have a chance. If they beat Miami, a win like that carrying over to the next week, yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. That's a good call. That's a good call.
Because Ohio State hasn't played anybody all year.
They
Like, I
have
mean,
they haven't. The
let's
most competitive team was Michigan.
like, yeah, all year.
That's so crazy.
Like, their team this year is different than it was last year.
Yeah, last year I feel like last year team it had hunger. I think this year's they know they knew they were gonna be one of the best. I think that this would be a good calling card for them to see how they will respond to a loss like that from the Big Ten championship. Because last time we see Ohio State take a loss, they did go on that run and win a natty. So I can't put too much on them, but they still have the best offensive player and best defensive player in college football with Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs in the back end for them defensively. So yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do think I think that I would have to go over with Texas A&M against Miami.
Okay.
That's who I would have to pick in this
Yeah.
first round. I
Yeah.
think that's a safe bet for me. Um, and
Okay.
then our last one is Ole Miss and Tulane.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah,
Yeah, I think Ole Miss handles this very well. I think that they're gonna ride out the emotion of Lane Kiffin leading them, and then they're gonna make sure they put the emphasis, letting the college football world know like they don't need Lane Kiffin, and I think that they'll win very convincingly. I think they'll win 20 by 20 plus.
okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I think the first round. I mean, honestly, yeah, I think that first round is going to be pretty straightforward. The one thing is the Alabama-Oklahoma game that could really go either way. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna go either way. It all depends on the quarterback play. Whichever
yeah,
quarterback's having a better day, they'll win.
yeah, it's crazy. Like Ty Simpson at one point was like in the Heisman race, and now he's been just kind of subpar the past like month.
But I'll say, here's the thing about Todd Simpson. He had the Heisman gift wrap headed to Tuscaloosa from weeks after week one through, let's say week 8. You can say that. But then later on in the season, I feel as though the offensive line play has gone down, so which led to more QB pressures. I think the route concepts have not been the best. I think that he has a clock to where he has to get rid of the ball, and sometimes he's a little late to some reads. And I think that not having a run game at all puts a lot of pressure on you, and you go to one of the schools that have championship pedigree, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on yourself. And I think that if he just comes out and just plays confident, don't and doesn't think too much, and just plays football, I think he'll be all right. But it's just certain things that haven't been going his way externally that he can't control, but internally he just has to fix his confidence for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen Ty when he's at his best. He's a really good quarterback. You know, when he's at his worst, not so much. But
Yeah.
it's I think a lot of his confidence thing, like you said, a lot of it is personnel, like the offensive line not playing as well. The running game being just non-existent at all. Like they had what -3 rushing yards against Georgia in the SEC championship. I mean, how
Yeah,
is that even possible? Like that's crazy. Like I've never seen something like that in my life.
yeah. It just wasn't the Alabama standard that day.
Yeah.
Truth so like it's all good. You guys got in the playoffs now. Now really the whole world's counting you out, so that can be bulletin board material to get you guys going for this playoff run.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I mean, your dogs, you guys will be just you guys are waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
With Ole Miss and Tulane, so that should be I mean, I think Georgia and Ole Miss will be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting regardless of who we play. Because we gotta remember all four teams that had a bye lost. So I know they'll probably do some things a little bit differently moving forward. We're getting more healthy. I think we're getting Ethan Barbour back, who's a freshman, 5-star tight end, and then we getting Kobe Young. He's coming back. He got hurt against Ole Miss, but he's gonna be back. He's gonna be coming back. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays a part because he was arguably the number one option over Zachariah Branch, and we all know how dynamic Zachariah Branch is. But defense is playing well. I think our young guys just grew up. Like Ellis Robinson, in my opinion, he's gonna be the best returning cornerback next year. I think he's that special. I think he could be. I can think he can hot take. I think he could be the most special cornerback outside Champ Bailey that came through Georgia.
Wow, that's a very bold take.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think
but
I
yeah,
think he has,
Ellis Robinson's good.
I think he has a chance to do that because getting 4 picks in your first season starting could have had 5 in the SC championship, but it's cool. I think he's that special at that cornerback position. He's living up to the 5-star status, number one corner, top 5 player status that we all know he can be. But one thing I can say about college football this season, it showed a lot of teams the name of a marathon. Like you want to get everything right the first game. It's gonna take a while to get things going. I think we start seeing teams there. We start seeing guys rise to the occasion, like the Indianas. Because like let's be honest, we all thought Indiana was just a one year wonder. But they doubled it back, did it again, beat Ohio State, uh, had an undefeated season. Then we saw then we saw other teams like Vanderbilt who got this close to making a playoff, but things just didn't work out that way. And then we saw Oklahoma. Like let's not forget, John Mateer before he got injured, it was Mateer versus Simpson. So
Yeah.
then yeah, so it's all about the marathon. I think that some fans were happy about their marathon more than others, but hey. At the end of the day, you can't get too high or too low about a win or a loss. Just have to be grateful that you're just in a position to have those talks surrounding your team.
Yeah, definitely. So you're gonna see, man. It's gonna be exciting. Like I said, those games start this weekend. Alabama, Oklahoma is on Friday, so all of that will be starting this week. So it'll be pretty fun to watch, man. And then definitely we'll be keeping an eye on that. But John, yeah, thank you for joining us on the show today. We appreciate
Sure.
you, man, as always.
Sure.
And we'll definitely have you back on here soon, um, as we go throughout these playoffs here. So. Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming
Yeah,
on.
yeah, for sure. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you guys make sure you check out John's work on the Sports In podcast. He does great stuff there. And yeah, just give him a follow on his socials and everything. And yeah, make sure you do the same here for us on Jason Down. And we'll see you next time.